In the endless void of space, silence carries the echoes of destruction. Once Earth thrived with oceans, forests, and boundless dreams, but that was before the war. A war without limits, without compassion, without end. Humanity, fragile in the face of colossal empires, stood at the brink of extinction. Cities crumbled into ash, planets vanished under fire and steel, and entire generations were erased in a single breath. Hope itself was no longer fading, it was dying. Yet in this abyss of despair, humanity clung to survival with desperate resolve. No sacrifice was too great, no line too sacred. It was in this crucible of fear and determination that leaders turned to the unthinkable, experiments that defied the natural order, tampering with life itself. And from this dark gamble, something new was born. Not just a soldier, but a weapon. A man who could die and rise again, a being cursed and blessed with immortality. Humanity's last chance now carried a name: the Immortal Soldier. In a hidden facility, buried deep beneath the ruins of a once proud city, the last scientists of Earth pursued an experiment born of desperation. They called it Project Eternity. Their goal was not to build ships, nor weapons of mass destruction, but a soldier who could never fall, a warrior forged to stand against impossible odds. Through genetic manipulation, nanotechnology, and forbidden methods whispered only in dark halls, they shaped him. His body became a battlefield of science, his cells reprogrammed to regenerate endlessly. Burned flesh healed in seconds, shattered bones rebuilt themselves in moments, and even death itself was nothing more than a temporary pause. Yet behind the triumph of creation there was silence, for in granting him immortality they had stolen his humanity. He was no longer just a man. He was property, a tool of war, destined to bleed, suffer, and rise again. And when the alien horde advanced, humanity unleashed their eternal soldier to face the swarm. The battlefield was chaos, a nightmare carved into the void of space. Ships burned like dying stars, their wreckage drifting in silence before erupting into violent firestorms. On the ground, the alien swarm advanced, towering insectoid creatures with armored exoskeletons, mandibles that split steel, and eyes that shimmered with cold, collective hunger. Against them, humanity's soldiers fought valiantly, but every volley of gunfire was drowned by the tide. And then, into this inferno, the Immortal Soldier was unleashed. He charged without hesitation, his body torn apart by claws, acid, and fire, only to rise again, each regeneration faster, more furious than the last. To his comrades he became a legend in motion, a figure who defied death itself. To the enemy, he was terror incarnate, an obstacle that could not be crushed. Yet as he fought, something stirred within him. Each time he died, each time he rose, the pain remained. He was not just a weapon. He was a man trapped in an endless cycle of war. At first, his purpose seemed clear: destroy the swarm, protect what remained of humanity. But war has a way of tearing illusions apart. During the endless campaigns, the Immortal Soldier began to notice fragments the others ignored. He saw the alien swarm not only as monsters, but as living creatures, defending nests filled with young. He heard their roars of pain, felt their desperation when colonies were burned from orbit, and realized that their enemies fought with the same ferocity he carried within himself. Whispers from captured aliens revealed a different story. They had not invaded first. The humans had trespassed into their systems, claiming resources not their own. Each revelation gnawed at him, planting seeds of doubt. Was he truly humanity's savior? Or just a weapon used to crush another race's right to survive? And if that were true, then his immortality was not a gift, but a curse that chained him to endless bloodshed on the wrong side of history. It happened on a nameless world, its skies ablaze with the fire of orbital bombardment. The Immortal Soldier had been sent to lead the ground assault, tasked with eradicating every last insectoid presence. But when the smoke cleared and the battle quieted, he stumbled upon what the war machines had overlooked. Inside the shattered caverns, he did not find soldiers. He found families. Thousands of alien civilians huddled together, fragile young clinging to their mothers, their chittering cries echoing like human sobs. The enemy he had been ordered to destroy were not warriors, but innocents caught in the storm of conquest. His orders demanded their annihilation. His superiors called them collateral. Yet as he raised his weapon, his hands trembled. For the first time, he saw his reflection in their terrified eyes, not as a hero, not as a savior, but as the monster they feared. In that moment, the truth crystallized. He was fighting not for justice, but for an empire that had already lost its soul. Immortality, contrary to what many imagine, is not a glorious gift. For the immortal soldier, each rebirth carried an invisible weight, a mark that no regeneration could erase. He felt every wound, every broken bone, every searing burn, not just in his body, but deep within his mind, leaving scars that flesh alone could never heal. Each death echoed endlessly, a silent scream that haunted him through the endless nights of war. There was no forgetting, no relief, only the relentless repetition of pain, the cruel reminder of everything he had lost and the comrades who had not been as fortunate. With every battle, every injury, the realization that he was trapped in an eternal cycle of suffering grew heavier, revealing that the true cost of immortality was not in fighting enemies, but in waging war within his own mind, his own humanity, and the pain that could never be escaped. Doubts began to gnaw at the immortal soldier, subtle at first, then relentless, twisting through his mind like a shadow he could not shake. The insectoids he had been trained to hate, to see as nothing more than mindless monsters, now appeared in a different light. He had witnessed glimpses of their lives, their rituals, their language, their grief, and questions he had long suppressed now demanded answers. Were they truly the heartless enemies he had been told to destroy, or had humanity been fed lies from the start? Each encounter, each skirmish, added layers of uncertainty, making him question not only the mission he had sworn to complete, but the very truths he had believed his entire life. The clarity of black and white faded, replaced by shades of moral ambiguity, forcing him to confront a reality where the line between friend and foe, right and wrong, was no longer defined. In the heart of endless war, the immortal soldier found himself facing an enemy far more dangerous than any alien, the uncertainty of truth itself. As he ventured deeper into the alien world, the immortal soldier began to see them not as monsters, but as a civilization. He observed their culture, intricate and rich, their rituals filled with meaning, their language carrying emotions he had never expected from what he had been told were mindless creatures. He saw grief, love, camaraderie, emotions that mirrored his own humanity, emotions that made the concept of enemy suddenly far more complex. Each revelation shattered the simple black and white narrative he had been fed, forcing him to confront the reality that these beings were not faceless threats, but a people with lives, hopes, and families of their own. The lines between right and wrong blurred as he realized that the war he had been fighting might have been built on lies, and that understanding the truth required looking beyond the battlefield and seeing the world through the eyes of those he had been trained to hate, the empire he had devoted his life to. The authority he had believed embodied justice and righteousness began to crumble in his perception. Words of honor and noble purpose had masked a reality far darker, a system that thrived on cruelty, manipulation, and deceit. Orders once unquestioned now weighed heavily on his conscience, revealing a moral corruption that had been hidden behind banners of patriotism and duty. Every command, every strategy, every campaign he had participated in now carried the stain of betrayal, not against him, but against the very ideals he had been taught to defend. The lines between loyalty and morality blurred, leaving him adrift in a sea of disillusionment. The Empire's true nature was exposed, and with it, the stark truth. The real enemy might not be the alien insectoids he had been sent to annihilate, but the human institutions he had once trusted, and the lies that had shaped his entire existence. Now, torn between loyalty and truth, the immortal soldier faces his greatest battle, not against alien hordes, not against death itself, but against the very essence of his own humanity. Every choice weighs heavier than any weapon, every decision echoing through the endless cycle of pain and regeneration that has defined his existence. He must decide where his true allegiance lies, with the empire that molded him, or with the truths he has uncovered about the so-called enemy, truths that challenge everything he has believed. This inner war tests not only his strength, but his conscience, forcing him to confront the moral complexities of immortality and the cost of unquestioned loyalty. Will he continue to fight for a cause built on lies, or will he forge his own path, guided by compassion, justice, and the recognition that every life, human or alien, matters? Discover the thrilling conclusion of this epic saga and explore the depths of the Immortal Soldier's struggle. If you enjoyed this story and want more incredible tales of action, mystery, and sci-fi adventures, make sure to subscribe to Dark Nebula, hit the notification bell, and join our community of curious minds. Don't miss the next journey that will take you even deeper into the worlds where truth and courage collide.